You are a teacher that is very involved with a number of organizations as someone who really places great value and makes a wonderful experience out of taking your students to places, having artists coming into you. You've been very involved in the Van Wezel Kennedy Center professional development, especially the research grant. And so my questions for you today are really about, that perspective as a teacher who chooses to really take full valuable advantage of these experiences. And so, what is the value to you of helping your students experience these connections with their community organizations? And maybe just touch on, the reactions you get from your kids and your colleagues and maybe even parents from that.
Okay. I came to teaching late. In fact, I started university when I was 39. So when I entered the classroom, I came there with a different perspective. And my son said, he's the reason I'm a teacher, by the way, he made a list of things I should do with my students. And I do those things. And those are the things that are most memorable to my students, that makes my students the most successful, the most appreciative of what Sarasota County has to offer to them. The first place my son said we had to spend time was at the Ringling Art Museum. When my kids were little, we didn't have much money, so we would have lunch on the terrace at the Patterson and pretend like it was our home. And we would meander through the rose garden and comment on what a good job we were doing raising roses. And then we would walk through the art museum and select which piece in each gallery we would take home and put over the fireplace that didn't exist. Then we would have lunch with the Greek gods in the courtyard. That's how my kids learned about pomegranates and Persephone. So when I became a teacher, those are things I do with my kids. Sometimes with all the field trip forms that you've all heard about, it can be a little bit of a challenge to get a lot of kids. So we offer Saturday experiences whenever the kids want to go. The Ringling Art Museum has provided lots of instruction to teachers with the Saturday mornings for educators. My gosh, I saw a whole nother side to the whole complex of the Ringling Art Museum. That being said, my kids love what goes on there, love being a part of it. They've taught teachers there. They've done public performance poetry in the galleries. And think about being a kid sharing your poetry with complete strangers. Most of you know that poetry is the thumbprint of your soul. It's one thing to get up and share something that somebody else has written, but you're just laying pretty bare your soul when you read what you have written. And I didn't really realize that until they asked me to perform with them one time. And I thought, oh my gosh, these kids, they do it without even hesitating. And when we give our kids the opportunities to engage as an artist in any of the mediums that we have talked about, they just step right into it because they haven't developed. I heard Lori say something earlier about we look at things from the perspective of an adult, and they look, of course, at things from their perspective, and they don't have all the baggage that we have. And when we give our kids those opportunities, then they become more authentic. They become more human. And when our parents get involved with it, my parents are writing poetry. My parents perform with their kids. And we are doing the Sidewalk Chalk Festival, doing poetry down there. And, my parents want to know if they can perform. Well, I think not. This is for the kids. This one's for the kids. And to collaborate, words are the connective thread to all the arts. Words are the connective thread to life. So having the opportunity to teach creative writing is the best job ever. But that being said, we connect in creative writing to the other arts through collaborating with things that our community has to offer. Now, Sarasota is most known for John Ringling. And a couple of years ago, we had the P.T. Barnum play. One of my kids said, why aren't we having a play about John Ringling, Gadzooks? Well, he probably didn't say Gadzooks. But it's right there by the Ringling. So we decided to write our own play about Ringling. It was Ring, Ring, Ringling, the three rings of John Ringling's life: his youth, his Sarasota years, and the circus years. So we spent time at the Circus Museum. We went around downtown. His fingerprints are all over this city, which many kids and even some of their parents were unaware of. After we wrote the play, the theater and drama department of our school went about producing it. The art department went about making the sets. The graphic design department made the posters and tickets and playbills. The dance department had a number. The band department had a number. Every part of the arts at our school was involved. We even had a number, the 4-H let us have llamas and miniature ponies at our school. So that even made it more real. Some of the kids who are involved in Sailor Circus, we had kids on unicycles and juggling, and the whole thing came to life because of the arts and because of what this community has to offer for our kids. You just have to get out there and find it. So often in education we talk about covering the curriculum. I think that we should spend more time uncovering possibilities. And when you do that, it's amazing. You know, any of you who are gardeners and you start digging in the dirt and see what comes up. And that's what we're doing. We're planting seeds. And your garden shouldn't produce in 2 weeks. Your garden should still be giving you pleasure and produce long after you planted the seed. And the arts allow us to plant seeds in our kids that are harvested long after they leave middle school, high school, and even Sarasota.